Okay, welcome back to another episode of Third and 23. I'm your host, Alex, here to bring you another pick and prediction video for the NFL. We're talking week 12 of the NFL season. So, yet another 3 and 2 week last week. Keep hitting these 3 and 2 weeks. Keep doing 5 games each week. I'd like to do more, but it is what it is. I can only do what I see. So, 3 and 2 last week takes me to 21 and 14. That is actually 60%, which is my goal. But obviously, we're only at the halfway point of the season. So, let's see if we can keep it pushing and do even better, or at least maintain at 60%. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Again, 5 games on tap for you in this video. We've got, starting off with a team you see here all the time. We've got the Texans visiting the Tennessee Titans. Texans 5.5-point favorite. If you watch this channel, you know I like to bet against the Tennessee Titans. Coming off of a bye, but 2 weeks ago, I took the Chargers, laid the 9.5, and hey, they didn't cover, right? But so when you look at that game, you say, well, maybe Tennessee's turning things around. Actually, Tennessee only scored 6 points offensively in that game. I think it was the right call, right read. A pick six and a special teams touchdown is the reason why the Chargers didn't get the cover. So I don't think the Titans are going to get that every single week, and I don't think they're going to get that in this week against the Houston Texans, which have a better defense than the Chargers have. So you look at this in terms of yards per attempt, the Texans third in the NFL in terms of expected points allowed in their pass defense, first in the NFL. This is, you could argue, is the best defense in the NFL. I would probably say Denver, but they're in that conversation. Titans, they trot out Cam Ward at quarterback. I talk about Cam Ward all the time. Rookie QB, I know, but he's been awful all season. He's dead last in expected points allowed, 34th out of 34 quarterbacks. 32nd in yards per attempt, 32nd out of 34 quarterbacks. He's at the bottom of the metrics with another rookie, which we'll get into later, on just about every important passing metric out there. The Titans are supposed to be getting Calvin Ridley back. He's questionable. He's missed 4 weeks, 3 games in a bye week. They're thinking that he might be back. I'm going to assume that he is going to be back, especially coming off the bye. But it's not going to me, it doesn't make that much of an impact going against this defense. Also be noted, when the Titans do eventually get to the red zone, which is not very often, they're the 31st ranked red zone offense in the league. So against this Houston Texans defense, how many points do you expect them to score? You're going to get a special teams touchdown? You're going to get a pick six? I don't know. That's not something you can predict. On the Houston side, they're going with Davis Mills again. He's going to start making his second start after last week's big comeback against the Jags. Big choke job by Jacksonville. Outscored him 26-0 in the fourth quarter. I know one was a defensive touchdown at the end, but still, big comeback for Davis Mills. He can move the ball. He can make plays downfield. He's got receivers and Nico Collins in the rookie wideouts that they got. You got Woody Marks at running back, who every once in a while makes a play for him in the running game. So I look at this, I see Houston having better opportunity at balance than the Tennessee Titan offense, which is probably the worst offense in the NFL. So this game for me, I'm doing it every week. It seems like, I just got to do what I see, right? Texans laying the 5.5. I don't see how Tennessee scores more than 7 to 10 in this game. Houston, if you can get to 17, this has to be a cover, in my opinion. All right, moving on to the next game. We've got the Green Bay Packers visiting the New York Football Giants. Packers 7-point favorite. Giants come to this game, first game after Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll got fired. Mike Kafka is coming in as the interim coach. He's never been in a situation like this. He's been an OC for a few years, but never been in a situation like this. Also to note, Jackson Dart is going to be out. It's going to be Jameis Winston getting the start this Sunday. Jameis Winston, real volatile quarterback. Loves to throw the ball down the field. Will make some big chunk plays, but also he turns over the rock quite a bit. As you guys know, if you follow football, Jameis Winston, one of the more turnover-prone quarterbacks to really ever play the game. So I look at this and I say to myself, well, Packers defense is one of the best in the NFL. So Jameis Winston's going to have to navigate that, but then who's he going to be throwing to? When Jameis Winston came in for Cleveland last year, he had Jerry Jeudy out there, kind of revived his career a little bit. But he had Jerry Jeudy and some other guys out there who've played. You're talking about Jalen Hyatt. He's only got 3 catches this year. Gunnar Olszewski, he's got 1 catch. And then you got Wan'Dale Robinson, who's leading the team in receptions because Malik Neighbors is out. Because there's going to be no Darius Slayton. Obviously, there's no Malik Neighbors. At running back, there's no Cam Scatterboo. So it's going to be a lot of backups on the field having to make plays for the Giants offense in this game. Going against the Packers defense, you got to say that's big advantage for Green Bay. But you look at Green Bay, this offense has been lacking. The last two games, they've scored 20 points total, one touchdown in each game. You had the snooze fest against Philly on Monday Night Football, 10-7. I don't know what the hell that was. And then they lose at home. That was at home, by the way. And they also lost at home to Carolina, 16-13. And to me, the biggest problem is Jordan Love. Jordan Love doesn't lead enough scoring drives. You watch Green Bay play every once in a while on a drive, he'll hit a play downfield for maybe 20 yards or so, and then suddenly that drive stalls around midfield. If you're watching Green Bay, this is consistent with Jordan Love. And one of the biggest problems is under pressure. Third down is that's when teams are bringing pressure. A lot of pressure comes on third down. 31st in the league is under pressure EPA. And you watch him play, you can see it. You can see it firsthand. He struggles, and that's why drives don't continue. That's why drives don't lead to touchdowns. This is the offense in the last two games. Don't forget, earlier in the season, this team lost to the Cleveland Browns 13-10. Again, they couldn't get drives going and get touchdowns. So this Packers offense has been lacking. However, in this game, and I don't know, I got the dark completion percentage up there. Shouldn't have that up there. It's irrelevant for this game. But in this game, the running game for the Green Bay Packers been struggling. Josh Jacobs is scoring touchdowns, not really making plays on the ground. But the Giants' run defense is one that everybody gets off on. 31st in the league in stopping the run. This is a game you could see Josh Jacobs probably kind of take over, and that'll help open up play action and maybe see some pass plays get hit for Jordan Love down the field. So because of that, and because of the fact, and really because of the fact that I don't think the Giants' offense, with all these backups in, with all these moving parts, with his interim head coach, this isn't a good spot for him going against one of the best defenses in the NFL. I'm going to take the Packers. I'm going to lay the 7. I'm going to say the Green Bay offense for maybe 1 week only finally gets things turned around and looks like a credible offensive threat. So Green Bay -7. All right, moving on to the next game. We've got the Cincinnati Bengals visiting the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is Old Man Bowl 2. Joe Flacco versus Aaron Rodgers. They played a 33-31 classic with a wild ending the first time they went in round 1, right? And that's the only win Joe Flacco's got in Cincinnati. He's 1-3 with the Bengals, but the offense is averaging 33 points per game in his 4 starts. So it's not really on him. It's on the defense, right? And you can see it right here. Defense, 32nd, dead last in the league in explosives allowed. Dead last in the league in yards per attempt allowed. You're going against Aaron Rodgers, though. Aaron Rodgers in explosives, 26th in the league. Average depth of target, 5.9. Worst in the league. 5.9 worse. What is he? Aaron Rodgers is playing his age. Just call it what it is, man. There is nothing going down the field. But he did enough to get 31 the first time around against Cincinnati. So you might see some of that again in that game against Cincinnati. We also saw Jaylen Warren rush for 127 yards. So you can see Steelers, they might have some balance. But I think the Bengals are going to have some balance too. I think Flacco's going to hit plays off against these guys again. I think Chase Brown is going to have a decent game on the ground. So to me, also to be noted, I want to note the Steelers, there's going to be no Darius Slay out there. Their edge, Alex Highsmith, he's also not going to play in this game. So that's just going to benefit the Cincinnati Bengals offense even more because no Darius Slay. I believe they picked up Asante Samuel Jr. off the practice squad. They signed him off the practice squad. You're going to put him out there against Jamal Chase and T. Higgins. That's going to be tough matchups. So for me, 5.5 spread, that seemed crazy to me. When I first looked at this game, I was expecting this to be 3, maybe 2.5 for Pittsburgh for home field advantage. Man, go ahead and give me Cincinnati with a +5.5. I think this is going to be another high-scoring game between both these old quarterbacks that's going to go down to the wire. So in a close game, you're going to give me over more than a field goal at 5.5. I'm going to take it. Go ahead and give me Cincinnati +5.5. All right, moving on to game number 4. We've got the Kansas City Chiefs visiting the Denver Broncos. Big game in the AFC West. The Broncos lead the division. The Chiefs, surprisingly, are 5-4, but they've had a tough schedule. As you go to the Super Bowl last year, you're probably going to have a tough schedule the next year, and that's what they've kind of had. But they've been in these games. One thing for Kansas City fans should be happy about is their wide receiver core is healthy and intact, right? That helps the offense be primed to take off. First 6 games of the year, you got no Rashee Rice. You had Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown getting banged up. I think Juju might have missed time. I can't remember that. But now you got all these guys. You got Travis Kelce. I know Pacheco is hurt, but you got Kareem Hunt, and he was probably doing more work than Pacheco. And they're using Brashard Smith now more out of the backfield as well. So this Chiefs offense, to me, I think it's going to take off. I think it's going to take off this second half of the season because Mahomes is having a solid year. He's in the top 10 in a lot of important passing metrics. Under pressure, though, this, which is important for this game. He's sixth in the league. His passing expected points is still sixth in the league when he's under on throws under pressure, and he's going against the number one pass rush in the league, second in pass rush pressure rate, first in sacks. That's going to be important. But they're without Alex Singleton. They're without Patrick Surtain on the outside. So that's going to make it easier, give some relief to Patrick Mahomes in this game on the road in Denver. Then on the flip side of that, the Chiefs' rush defense has been solid, 12th in the league. Their defense overall has been solid, pass defense as well. But 12th in the league against the run. J.K. Dobbins is now out for the year, if you haven't heard, and he was on pace for 1,300 yards. Now you got R.J. Harvey up there. Undersized running back, so they're going to pair him with some other guys, but he's averaging 21 yards rushing per game this season, coming off the bench. So that's a big loss, I think, for the Denver offense, especially when you throw in the fact that Bo Nix this year, he's bottom third in a lot of passing metrics, but he's 6.3 yards per attempt. It's been being masked how poorly Bo Nix is playing this year because of the J.K. Dobbins running game and because of the Broncos defense. So in this game, I think all of that might get unmasked, so to speak, and you're going to see, in my opinion, Kansas City go into Denver and get the W, a much-needed W against the AFC West leading Broncos. I'm going to lay the 3, and I'm laying the 3 because I don't give a damn that it says 3.5. I don't do 3.5 point favorites in the NFL. I just don't do it. I'll take the 3.5 as a dog, but no, I don't do that number. So I've learned from that by this point. So go ahead and give me Chiefs laying the 3. Moving on to the 5th and final game, we've got the Baltimore Ravens visiting the Cleveland Browns. Ravens, 7.5 point favorite. Team has had a lot of issues early on to start the year with injuries to Lamar Jackson and other players. Team is finally healthy, ready to make a run in the AFC North. AFC North is there for the taking because the division leader right now is the Steelers, and they're as vulnerable as they come for a division leader. You've got the Cleveland Browns, one of the worst teams in the NFL. Is Dylan Gabriel the worst rookie quarterback we've seen in NFL history, at least in recent memory? He's bottom of the charts in every passing metric that matters. 5 yards per attempt is last, and I'm telling you right now, 5 yards per attempt in the NFL is terrible football. 58% completion percentage is 32nd. And this is out of 34 quarterbacks, by the way. That's why I have 32nd listed. Out of 34 quarterbacks, he's 32nd. EPA, 32nd. Average depth of target, 32nd. There's no pushing the ball against a Ravens secondary that can be vulnerable. You're not going to see it happen in this game. So then it's going to have to do with the running game. Quinshon Judkins, solid running back, but overall the Browns are 26th in the league rushing the football. Ravens are vulnerable, 20th. You can run it on them, but I don't know if Judkins is going to have that big of a game to really keep the Ravens offense off the field. Because Lamar Jackson back, he's playing to his typical self. You've got Derrick Henry in the Ravens offense, 5th in the league rushing the football. And it's going to matter in this game. 25-mile-per-hour wind is expected, so I don't think Lamar's going to go crazy passing the ball, but I think you're going to see a lot of running from him and Derrick Henry as they methodically move the ball down the field, chunk plays, and score points on the Browns. Now, I'm going to say this. This is a game that I thought about avoiding doing. I'm going to give you a little bit of history. Lamar Jackson has won me a lot of money, so I'm not taking anything away from him there. But if there's one superstar quarterback that'll burn you when they're playing a bad football team in a spot like this, man, it's 8 for Baltimore. 2 years ago, when I first started doing these videos, I took Ravens -6 against Cleveland. Cleveland had a Deshaun Watson starting, but a bunch of injuries on the O-line and other places. Ravens were up 14. The Browns score. Lamar throws a pick six. All of a sudden, this is a game, and the Browns ended up winning 33-31. What the hell happened? They were 14 in the second half. Last season, against the Browns, they're starting Jameis Winston at quarterback. They got a bunch of injuries on the offensive side of the ball. The Browns won the game, and Lamar played terrible. The secondary played terrible too. Dropped interceptions. Browns win. Same season, last season, against the Raiders at home. You guys know the Raiders. You know the Raiders stink. Lamar lost to the Raiders at home last season. All 3 games I bet. All 3 games I got wrong. So I'm just telling you, I'm giving you a history lesson. If in this kind of exact same spot, in this exact same scenario, there's one superstar quarterback that could blow this 7.5, and that's Lamar Jackson. And despite I told myself I'm never going to do it again, I'm going to do it again. Give me the Ravens laying the 7.5. I'm only doing it because Gabriel is that bad. Dylan Gabriel is that bad that this Ravens 7.5 has to cover. So Baltimore's the call. And anyways, that's it. So if you like the content, please like, comment, subscribe, all of that. As you're gonna see more NFL pick and prediction videos and my college videos going forward. Take care.